Good morning, Jeffrey Howells Carpet Cleaning. We are out in beautiful Happy Valley, Oregon this morning. The sun's bright, looking good. Hey, a couple things I wanted to point out real quick about the van. You come in and he's like, why didn't I back in if the truck unit is side mounted on the other side to go straight in the door? Kind of an embarrassing situation that I had. I thought I was far enough away from the doorway, but apparently I wasn't. The exhaust went into the house and set off all the fire alarms, so that was, annoying, needless to say. So ever since then I've always kept the exhaust going away from the door, so it doesn't even have a chance, hopefully, to go indoors. The other thing I would like to point out is building the business and getting customers. I mean, this particular house was due to I've actually got a couple of them, a network meeting that I was a part of probably back in 2010, and here it is 6 years later, and I still am cleaning homes for members of this networking group that I was a part of once upon a time. Not only do I clean his beautiful home, but he also has an insurance office that I'm going to be cleaning later today. So you have no idea where things are going to go in this business. You just make connections with people, and you just keep growing and growing from word of mouth. It'll lead you commercial jobs. It'll land you more residential work. It'll land all kinds of stuff that you never thought imaginable. In fact, I've got connections with Elks clubs, marijuana dispensaries, all kinds of, commercial and residential stuff that, I don't even really know how it just kind of fell in my lap. It was just meeting the right people at the right time, and that's really what it's all about. So anyways, why don't we go ahead and go inside, do a quick walkthrough here. I spoke to the owner, and he doesn't want anything moved, so we are going to go around a lot of stuff. I'll start upstairs first. We will start with the pre-vacuum, and obviously I haven't even done that yet. I'm just going to be doing a quick walkthrough with you. I believe there are 5 rooms here. The dog is locked in this room. He said he's going to be in a kennel, but door's blocked, so I assume we're not cleaning that room today. I'll come down the hallway here. We got the master bedroom, and I do believe we have a walk-in closet here. Kind of move stuff out of the way as we need to get to them. Things. Set that up. I am going to this over here. Not much we can do here because of everything that's in here, but we are just going to pre-vacuum and try to at least, hit some of the traffic area in there. So we'll call this bedroom number 1, since bedroom number 1 is not actually accessible at the time. This is our next bedroom. Obviously we can't get to the closet, so we'll hit up all the traffic areas, move this guy around, continue down the hallway. Here we've got like a double room. We got this room in here, clean up good, and then we also have this other room in here, a walk-in closet. Just in the front there, the bed. We'll just kind of push stuff up onto the bed and work around the areas that we can at least get to. Pull the books off the floor so we're not getting them damp. And We'll probably end up doing the stairway last because I got to put a stair tool on, so when we have to stop the truck, dump water, and change up our tools, you know, we got to kill it anyways just to get the water pressure down so that we can change the hose, or else you're having to fight with like 400 pounds of pressure on that valve, and I'm not strong enough to do that. And then we got this downstairs living room area here, and you can kind of see the carpet looks like it's rolling a bit. Some of it is being caused by the lighting. That kind of gives it a rolling effect. But if I remember right, I think that the carpet is a little loose. So we'll be careful. We'll just give it a good steam cleaning and make sure that we pull out, you know, do a double dry pass to pull out moisture. Because if it left too wet, that does, you know, have a tendency to cause rolling in the carpet. So we are careful not to, you know, cause any unwanted side effects. And there we go. We'll come back out here, we'll grab our vacuum, and we'll go from there. Okay, quick word on the vacuum cleaner. Go over this and kind of explain a little bit. We have our height adjustment. You always start with it at the utmost, highest position. We're going to turn our vacuum on, so it's going to get a little bit loud, but I'm going to try to talk over the noise. And then once the vacuum is on, you're listening to the sound of the motor, primarily the sound, the rotation of that beater bar, and you begin lowering it down to the carpeting one click at a time until you hear it make contact with the carpets. And once you hear it make that contact right there, you go down one more click. And that right there is the most optimal setting for these carpetings here in this house. What that does is it allows the beater bar to beat on that carpet to cause that vibration. I mean, you can even feel it with your feet. You can just feel the floor vibrating. But it also allows for maximum airflow to occur under here, allowing it to pick up the bouncing debris out of the carpeting, and it puts it in the vacuum bag here. One other thing I can point out with this style of a vacuum cleaner is that you're not sucking stuff up and having it go through a series of hoses and then into a canister or a bag or whatnot. It's going directly from the floor, it's picking it up, and it's pushing it up directly into the bag. So it is much more efficient because it gets much more airflow than canister vacuums, or even vacuums that have hoses that detach that allow you to easily get in and around corners. Ideally, in the home residential situation, that's probably more convenient for the homeowner to have that, so that they can, you know, easily edge clean or stick that hose in, you know, with the crevice tool down on the couch or wherever they're going to put it. But for my purposes, I only use this vacuum cleaner 100% for vacuuming clients' carpets. So I have no need for a tool, because when I do any edging around corners, I do it with my truck mounted system. I just pull the hose off the wand and do a quick, you know, swipe with the hose, and it picks up anything around the edges, and it's just as powerful, if not more powerful, than a central vacuum in a home anyways. But anyways, let me show you what we're gonna do. Now when we vacuum, the soil accumulation of debris that accumulate in the carpeting can be as much as 1 pound per foot. Now that's a whole heap of dust. Most homes don't quite have that much, but believe me, I've been in situations where it's come pretty darn close. But anyways, they say a typical vacuum cleaner requires 7 passes, which is ridiculous. to thoroughly pick up debris out of the carpeting. You talk to all kinds of people that say you got to go slow, you need to do this, you need to do that. For my purposes, I do a lot of overlapping. So what I like to do, just kind of take this kind of motion straight back and forth. You're covering all of the carpeting multiple times, and it does a very thorough job. We're not going to mess with those wires, we're just going to leave them where they're at. It does do a very phenomenal, thorough job, and the testament of that is how quickly this bag in here actually fills up. We need to replace that bag every, well, it depends on how soiled the carpeting, but typically you get about 3 jobs out of it before the bag is full and you got to replace it, put a new one in. But this is the vacuuming procedure that we take. It works very well. It helps to get that debris out so you're not turning it into mud during the steam cleaning process. So it just makes more sense to remove dry debris from the carpeting before doing the steam cleaning. It helps prevent your pre-spray from getting oversaturated with the debris, so it has more of an optimal performance on the carpeting and loosening and emulsifying debris that are on the surface that you're wanting to treat that anyways. But this is sort of like getting underneath the carpeting, whereas the steam cleaning is cleaning the surface of the carpeting. So in tandem, they both have their specific purpose and reason for performing a pre-vacuum along with the steam cleaning. During the pre-vacuum, I noticed this house only really has one transition area where the carpeting tends to really get hammered, and that's, you know, right along the transition between hard surface and the carpeting, where it's pretty much exposed where it's tacked down at. So due to that, you know, just walking across it, you know, if you wear your shoes in the house or something like that, it does tend to take the brunt of everything. So whether it be your shoes or slippers or your bare feet where you're transferring oils and stuff on, it's always a good idea during your pre-vacuum to at least come across these areas in a couple of different directions. So you're thoroughly getting the vacuum in this direction, but then you should also go back and get it in the adjacent direction, just so that you're thoroughly vacuuming all the debris out of the carpeting. This is a practice that I take in all of my jobs, and it always seems to do a great job. Especially in kitchens, tends to be the worst areas, because a lot of times, not necessarily in this home, but you get food and stuff, because the kitchen and dining room areas are confined a bit closer, and sometimes they're even joined together where they're carpeting in the dining rooms, which is kind of nuts, but you know, that was kind of a 70s, 80s style, and a lot of homes still have that arrangement in them. But anyways, that's a couple little tips for your pre-vacuum. Fired up our truck, and I'll explain our hose situation here. I got our pre-filter. Now it's obviously I need 2 lengths of hose. One isn't going to reach all the way upstairs. So the process that I take is I grab the first roll, I go up to the farthest corner of the house where I'm going to start, and I walk the hose back down, and then I connect any extra hose that I need, just so that I am not overdoing it or pulling too much hose into the home. So as you can see, we have 2 hoses here. This is our first length, ends right here, and we put on our second length, which is, you know, the 50-foot sections, typical. However, it's not 50 feet from there to the truck. So it's very important to try to prevent the hose from getting too coiled up, because that really stifles your airflow in the suction and the ability that you're going to be able to pull out moisture from with your carpet wand. So I just kind of ran it down there, back around, just to kind of keep it confined so it's not looking like it's making the driveway an entire mess. But we'll go ahead and go inside. Again, like I say, keep it as straight as you possibly can. We're coming up the stairs. And all the way into the back room. However, I am going to let the truck run for a couple minutes just to help heat up that water to a good 225 degrees or so. But what we can do is, actually I need to plug in the suction. I haven't done that yet. But we do have water pressure. The water pressure is probably around 400, 425 or so. So I'm going to come down here and I'm just going to plug our hose in so we have vacuum. Then I'll probably take a good 5 or 10 minute breather. Let the carpets continue to dwell. The stairway here is another story. After I complete everything in the home, I'll come back to the stairway. Generally do stairways last, simply because you got to throw on the stair tool. In order to do that, usually you have to kill the truck or have something so you can shut off the pressure, which I don't have a pressure switch to do that. So in order to swap out the equipment with another piece of equipment, the solution line being under high pressure, I got to kill that so that I can at least, change that line out. And that gives us a good transition area or time to dump the truck of any retained water. Usually you just kind of feed the gardens with it or dump it down a drain. Your cleaning products nowadays are literally 99.5% biodegradable or more, so it's not causing any problems. In fact, your local Walmart is probably putting out 100 times more pollution than what a carpet cleaner puts out in a lifetime. So how's carpet cleaning? Here we go. I'm going to take a little break and I'll be right back to show you our steam cleaning process. Alright, we're back to begin our steam cleaning. Water is about 225 again, like I said. PSI around 400. We got a pretty good vat, good spray of steam there. Now I'll show you how I do the steam cleaning. Everybody kind of comes up with their own process of what they like to do. However, there's always a right and a wrong way of doing things. For myself, what I particularly do is I will start from the right side and eventually work my way over to the left. And I probably do maybe 2 to 3 foot passes with the water down. You can hear it spraying. Notice I come straight back in a straight line. And what that does, coming back in a straight line, allows you to pull everything out of the carpeting. Some guys like to do these triangle, sort of patterns. And really what you're doing with a triangle is that you're pretty much blocking a lot of the carpeting from being able to get rinsed and sprayed with the water. So it's really, you're skipping a lot of the carpeting when you're doing that. It's been sprayed. So what I will do is I'll go back over it again in a similar motion. The triangle patterns that you leave behind, some guys are really good at cleaning so they don't leave any triangle patterns. For me, I don't like the patterns, but I don't really care, because what I generally will do is I'll brush it out, rake it out anyways with a carpet rake. That has nothing to do with being sloppy and not cleaning properly, but it has everything to do with resetting the nap of the carpet fibers so that you get maximum airflow and drying time there. So that's one thing that I do. It's a bit differently, and I've got a reason for why I do it differently. It's the way I like doing it. It might be overkill, but my customers deserve 100% the best that I can give them, and I am not going to cut any corners in that respect. Notice that we are picking our hose up, pulling it out behind us as we go, so it's not a tripping hazard. And here I am tripping over it. But try to get it so it's not too bundled up. And notice the overlapping that I do. I'll clean an area. Let's see, let me show you here. I'll clean an area like this. You don't want to go too far. You kind of want to break everything off in sections, because you don't want to go across an entire room. But then I'll come with my dry strokes probably to about here. And what happens with the next line that I do or lay down, I overlap it with another dry stroke. You see here, I'm overlapping. It's getting good and rinsed. Straight lines. I'm overlapping, I'm pulling up all that moisture that was there. The overlapping method does take longer, more time to clean a room. But it also generates a lot of callbacks. So what do you want? Do you want more business, or do you just want to get out of here as fast as you can? For the small business owner, that's what I would recommend doing. If you're a franchise carpet cleaner and you're working for somebody and volume's an issue, you're hosed. Good luck. You're going to have to keep a fast pace all day long. For me, I enjoy working at my own speed. Doing a great job, getting paid hopefully. And if you have any comments or questions, be sure to leave them below. As we go along here, I'll be sure to point out other tips or thoughts that I think might be useful. To mention, I did notice a few candy spots. It's just gum or candy or some goo that's in there. There might be 2 or 3 of them up here. What I have is a citrus solvent. This stuff is very lots of residue that's going to leave behind, but good thing we're steam cleaning, because we'll get it all cleaned up. Typically, if I wasn't steam cleaning, I wouldn't use this product. I would use product that leaves a little bit less residue, but this stuff will dissolve pretty much anything. So, I mean, even if you had a pile of Elmer's glue in your carpeting, this stuff will dissolve it, eat it right up. So, just gonna stick that on there like so. Use our brush, kind of brush it, and you can already see it just eats it right up. So just kind of play with that. I'll add just a little bit more, just so that you've got that area kind of well kind of emulsify and eat that stuff up. I'll just stick it out here. I think the other one I saw was in the bedroom here, so there it is. We'll go ahead and is that it? No, that's not it. I don't know where I saw it. Well, anyways, we'll just leave it right here just in case we need to come back and get it. We know where it's at. Alright, so if we come back in here, we do our steam rinse. Kind of let it absorb that really good. You come back and take a look at it. It is completely 100% gone. And that's how you take candy out of carpeting. You can see the carpets look beautiful. We went over them with a good strong spray, get them good and wet. But then we also did a double over with our dry passes, overlapping, to make sure that we are able to extract as much of that soiling out of the carpeting as possible. Keep in mind that with our pre-vac we were able to get a lot of that out of there. So what a steam cleaning generally does, and what most people do not realize when they're buying steam cleaning services online, is that steam cleaning is really, it's not a rinse, it's not rinsing the junk out of your carpeting, it's basically doing a surface clean, which is for aesthetic purposes to make things look nice. Because it is hot, it is steam, 225, 230 degrees, it really shouldn't exceed that amount, but that temperature sanitizes everything. So in that sense you are sanitizing the carpets, but you're not really pulling any dirt and debris out of the carpeting. And then that comes, and that introduces us to a phenomenon called wicking. I'll discuss wicking in another video, but that just occurs when the carpets get too wet and they go too fast and don't get enough moisture out with the wand as they probably should. Here, I'll give you a brief example in here as to what cheap carpet cleaning does. Kind of want to do this in a spot where we have some room to kind of over exaggerate what happens. Is that they'll simply start in one area and go back and forth like this, which is good technique. I mean, this is the technique that I use. However, they'll come back and they start over again. And they'll keep repeating this process over and over. Sure, it gets your carpets clean. Yeah, it looks like that's where that gum is, so we'll go get our citrus solvent, hit that up. But as you can see, I'm leaving the carpets pretty wet, and if there's any soils in the carpeting, there's a chance that I left probably a good 60 to 75% of them in there. So without a decent extraction going on, extraction pass, you're potentially leaving all kinds of crap in the carpets. So anyways, just to be thorough, I'm probably just going to redo it again, but I just wanted to demonstrate cheap carpet cleaning. And the other thing is, because these carpets were so minorly, I should say, soiled, that cheap carpet cleaning may not have even put a pre-spray on the carpets, because they would just go over with the steam and call it good. However, they might hit spots like that. It's hard to say. Every carpet cleaner is different. I know what I do. I know why I do it. I know why my customer retention level hovers around 90%. You know, people do what they do. Alright, I'm just gonna kind of do a little work here to show what I do. You can hear water being picked up in the wand, so I go a little bit by sound. There might be something right there. You go over something a little extra. Looks pretty good. It might just be a disformation in the carpeting or something. But here we go. See, the push forward isn't as important as a straight pull back. So you want to make sure you get that straight pull back when you're rinsing, because if you notice the jets on the wand, they're on the underside of your wand. So as you're moving forward, you're not really recovering into the water that you're spraying down. It's that back pull, that your power stroke that is pulling up all that, extracting all that moisture that you put down, along with, you know, your pre-spray and the dirt and contaminants in the carpeting. So keep all that stuff in mind as you're cleaning the carpets. But it's all just one big fluid motion. You get your body rocking into it. Come under here. It's the exact same process. Hear that? That's the water getting sucked up in the wand. So when you're holding the trigger down, where you stop, if you don't let go of the trigger, it tends to pull up there. Not necessarily good, but because my pressure isn't terribly high, you know, I kind of do that because it gives an audible sound when you pull the wand over it. You can hear it sucking that water up, so that kind of gives me a stopping point. So I'm like kind of creating little lines as I'm going along, just so that I can keep track of. And you always want to clean in small squares. You never want to go across an entire room or anything like that, or else you lose track of where you're going, your lines become unstraight, and your carpet cleaning gets pretty sloppy. So a little square like that is perfect. I mean, that's pretty small, but it kind of gives, you know, some barriers and showing you an example of just a little square. Keep going back and forth. Now, I would say that between that leg and the bed, that's probably about a normal span that I would do. I probably wouldn't go much further than that. Again, I don't come all the way back to where I let off because that gives me a little bit of overlap for the next pass. Both on the dry pass as well as the wet pass, or the rinse, whatever you want to call it. We did come all the way through here, so as you can see, this process works very well. That spot down there wasn't candy. It was just a nasty dark gray spot, but you know, blasting it with some hot water generally breaks that grime down so that it gives up and releases from the carpeting. Of course, our pre-spray had a bit of influence on that, so good pre-spray along with a good vacuum and recovery, you can pretty much clean up anything in the carpeting. Okay, we've pretty much finished the 3 bedrooms upstairs, or 3 bedrooms upstairs, the hallway here, and then we also went down to the door here as much as we can because the dog is tied in there, and I'm not even going to try opening it. I set our hose and wand and everything up in the closet. It's ready to go, so when we come back, we're just gonna hit this spot up here, this area, finish the landing up here, then we'll go ahead and head on downstairs. We'll probably take a section of hose off because it's no longer needed, because one section of hose will easily come up the stairways here. In fact, I think it gets us down the hall even a little bit, but the shorter the better, especially when you're working on stairways, because the stairways get the most hammered. Having as much suction and power as you can possibly get benefits greatly. So that's going to be our plan of action. Come up with a plan, stick to the plan, no second guessing yourself. There's no room for second guessing. Professional work needs to come in, bam, nail it out every single time. And if you gotta change things along the way because you notice this or that, that's different than second guessing yourself and wasting time doing a bunch of stupid stuff. So there you have it. Okay, I'm going to try to give you a little bit of example what I mean by breaking things down in sections. As you might be able to tell, I've kind of done a little section here, done a section back there, and then I've done a section here in front of the fireplace. And what I'm trying to do is just keep everything in little blocks. When I do have to change directions, I try to keep everything, you know, kind of neat and often, well, not exactly 90-degree angles, but pretty darn close to it. So, an example here, I would just do this little portion here because of the shape of the cabinet. And then I'll just work on squaring it off with what we've already done here. So if we take this the rest of the way to the wall, kind of breaks our rhythm up a bit, you know, trying to get these little corners. But as you can see, we've got pretty much our block cut out there, so we can keep going in little modular blocks here. So do a little bit of an overlap, not much, but that way things get as clean as they possibly can. Not only that, we're going to stop it right here. we're lining up with the tile there in the fireplace. Come back, do our dry strokes, pull all that extra moisture up. Alright, we finished steam cleaning the downstairs area, family room. I went ahead and I raked everything out, so carpets are beautiful, look great. Raked out, reset the nap so that the carpeting is capable of drying more quickly because of the airflow can flow through more adequately than if we were just to have left it. And we will go ahead and get started on the stairways. I'll show you how we are going to do this here. Yeah, set this aside. Okay, I apologize, my battery ran out on the GoPro. So what we're going to do is the stairways. As you can see, I've already done the upper ones up there, but I wanted to show you my procedure. I pre-spray them just like I do regular carpeting, but instead of using the carpet rake, I have a little scrub brush. Now I put it back away in the truck, but anyways, I take it, scrub all the stairways, both the step and the riser in the back. And so what we do here is that I simply take our stair tool, do a pretty quick as not to completely saturate with steam, and we go back over it with a dry pass, get that good and clean. What people do here, I guess all different kinds of people, you know, they all have their own method. This is called edging. So what I'll do is I'll take the hose off, I'll do a quick edge on that, and then I also will pick up any extra moisture along the edge of the step there. When it comes to the risers, we simply take our tool, we turn it around like this, and just do a quick up and down motion, and we do a dry pass over what we have just done to pick up as much of the moisture as possible. And then we turn around and continue on with the next step, like so. As you can see, the process is pretty quick, doesn't take much, but the effect that you get coming down, absolutely phenomenal. If these are a little dingy, might just take a little water like that. When we take the hose off to edge, we're able to pick up that moisture with the hose. It also helps take a lot of the dinge out of the carpeting if there is any there. Again, the riser. Back over. Down to the next step. Dry pass. For the sake of being thorough, get that wet. We'll edge it out, and we'll soak up the moisture. Get a little bit extra clean there on the step. And that's the process. So we're down to the last step. And that concludes our day here, Howell's Carpet Cleaning out in Happy Valley, Oregon. I hope you enjoyed today's video. I tried to include as much instructional information as possible. If you have any questions or comments, leave them below, and I'll be sure to answer them personally. Have a great day.